Hello. I just wanted to make a video. This is my new YouTube channel. I don't think it's the first video, but it's a video anyway. And I wanted to talk about belief. Not just beliefs about oneself, not just beliefs about what one is and what is not, beliefs about limitation, beliefs about separation, but beliefs about the path, which becomes pathless, but beliefs about the possibilities, the belief in, not in oneself, but in the unfolding of liberation. I come across so many people now that are on this pathless path, but they don't believe they can go the whole way. They don't believe in liberation. They want it, but they don't really want it. And I think one of the biggest hindrances or the biggest hurdles is that this is possible in your lifetime. Because you can put it all to bed and you go and try and live the rest of your life without going the whole way and do it in another lifetime, but why not to do it now? Beliefs. You can do it now. Anyone can do it if they want it enough. And this is another thing. Wanting and striving has always been seen as a bad thing, especially in these topics, in these circles. But the people that I've seen wake up the quickest and the most are the people who strive for it the most. Even if it's striving until you exhaust yourself, that is better than giving up, which leads to giving up. In the end, everything is just surrender and giving up. But to strive for that is closer to truth than to not. Don't feel guilty for striving for liberation. Go for the dream. Go for it all, because liberation is on the other side of giving up. That's true. But until you've exhausted all methods, all other worldly things, that's when it's really true. That's when it's really seen that these worldly things aren't it, these things aren't it, and surrender then naturally unfolds. You can't do it. You can't surrender on purpose. So when someone comes to me, and if we're in a Zoom talk and I can tell they don't really want it, sometimes it's good to say, what do you really want this, or is this just another mask? Is this just another way to subtly avoid looking into the truth of oneself? And that's what liberation is. It's finding one's true self. I just wish more people would know this is possible in this lifetime. I just wish it was seen to be possible. It's just a belief. It's just a belief. To experience this with no separation, or at least see through the personal sense of self, because you can't find it anywhere when you actually look, and this is what it is. Because it is what we're all not wanting to look at the end of the day. It's the very root of the problem. The root of the problem, which becomes a problem, not a problem in the end, but what the issue of is the sense of being separate from the environment. If we take it as simple as we can, that is it, separate from the rest of the universe, the rest of the world. And suddenly the world appears because of this sense of being separate. There's not a world out there that we're moving through. The world becomes because this sense of separation comes into an illusory being. we overlook the sense that there is no separation. And so when I think about it, I would think about it long and hard. Why do we not believe? And it's sometimes just because we're not willing to give up the game, that we're not separate. Because we know it, we just don't want to accept it. And to come back to this topic of belief again, if you truly knew that this was possible, not out of effort, not out of thinking your way out of things, but through investigating what is true in this moment, in investigating this sense of separation, the borders, the emotions which turn to just sensations when there's no story, the sense of being separate, it comes back to the most simple thing, and that's why it's so difficult to tell people, because it's so simple. It's so simple. That's why it's difficult. Look around you right now. Try and find a boundary between anything. Not a supposed boundary. Take my hand. If we were to really zoom into the hand, you'd actually find layers of skin constantly shedding. So where's the boundary? It's always moving. The hair's growing. Food is coming in and out. Sounds are coming in and out. The blood is circulating, and this comes back to surrender. Who's doing this? Who's monitoring the heart rate? So if you can take this belief and this realization that no one's modulating the heartbeat, or you're not on purpose digesting. So why do you think that to even raise your hand? When did I make that decision? And this comes into total exertion. But all these things, they come about not through effort, but through surrender. And who surrenders? If there's nobody here, then who's surrendering? Life surrenders itself. It gives itself up. How weird is that? It's always known it. It just sometimes exhausts itself to not want to pretend anymore. I don't know if this is helping anyone, but back to beliefs. I want to talk about beliefs, just knowing it's possible. I think what happens is that at first it's a practice. It's a person, a separate self practicing to become even a stronger separate self. So the belief is that I can become a stronger separate self, but this creates more suffering because this sense of separation becomes stronger. We delude ourselves more, but this is needed. This is actually good in my view, or in my experience, because you have to go down each road to exhaust each dead end to realize that it's not found in money. Happiness is not found in relationships. But until you find that and you go down each end, you're going to keep wanting to chase it and using spirituality to chase those things. But when you really see that there's nothing else, all that external striving, and I say striving in a good way, if it's internal, if it's striving to be open, striving to allow, why not strive to not want to change this present moment? That's a striving. And even then, you get to the end of striving and you realize no one was even striving. Isn't that crazy? Not only was there no striving, but there was no person striving. There was no here and there. For striving to even come into being, there has to be a reference point. There has to be a locality in space and time. This is why it gets so paradoxical. But let's not go wishy-washy. Let's keep it here and now. What can we do? Again, paradoxical because there's nobody doing it and there's no actions. But you can only really say and exclaim this when you've investigated, and it's your current experience. Intellectualness means nothing. Understanding through the mind means nothing. I can understand algebra. I can understand that I'm infinite, but do I feel infinite? That's where the freedom is. That's where liberation is, in experience. And you can do it. You can do it. Until there's no you. Life will wake itself up when it's ready.